Hey guys, welcome to Style with Trish exclusive. We have an amazing guest today. She's an actress and just beautiful and graceful in her own right. None other than Christine Horne.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. So happy to be here.
This has been a long time coming for me. I am a fan of yours, and we here on the show, we like to bring guests on who have an amazing story, who are just inspiring in their world and in their journey, and I find you to be that person.
Thank you.
If you can, for the few of y'all who have been behind or up under a rock, can you just kind of share a little bit of your background? You are an actress,
yes,
well known to me, but for those who don't know who you are, if you would mind sharing.
Yes, I'm Christine Horne. I am a actress. Mm-hmm. I'm also a life and career coach for actors. I'm from New York, but Atlanta and LA is home for me now. Mm-hmm. I started in the theater. I did The Lion King for 5 years on Broadway on national tours. Mm-hmm. And then I transitioned into film and TV. My first big film that I didn't get cut out of was, I say that because I did stuff before, but when I didn't cut out of was Stomp the Yard. The first Stomp the Yard with Columbus Short. I got to push him around in line.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, oh, I want to do more of this. And so I've gone on to do a lot more of TV and film. I've been on shows like Blackish, Good Girls, The Affair, Snowfall, BMF, like a lot. I do a ton of television. Mm-hmm. And so now not only do I act full time, but I also have a community called Hollywood Bound Actors where I coach new and seasoned actors, not kids, but just adults who want to do what I do.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned that your start was in theater. We talked a little bit off set, and you said that you've been acting and doing theater since you were in high school.
Yes.
What is the difference for you in theater, and I mean love for it, in theater versus TV or movies?
Oh, it's, sometimes people say, what do you like more? And it's hard to say because they're so different. Mm-hmm. Theater is the best training ground because there's no take two, there's no do-overs. Your energy based on how the audience feels and what they're giving you can affect you. If you mess up, oh, well, you got to fix it, right? And there's something about the lights, when the lights hit you, it's just an electric thing that happens. So it is really in the bond you have with your castmates because you're all in it together. It's really special, but it's really taxing, especially doing 8 shows a week. TV and film, I've fallen in love with. That's where my true love is right now. Okay. Because of the intimacy and relationship that I've built with the camera lens. I always like to say I treat the camera lens like, that person who, thinks you cute, but, you act like you don't see them, but they see you, right? So, and learning how to master that and manipulate that and work your angles and all of that. And then really acting like it's not there and just having these intimate moments with another actor is really, really wonderful. And then the challenge of doing take after take or doing a big emotional scene, taking a break for lunch, picking back up from that same place, that is a challenge in its own right. And then you see the magic come to life with the editors and our writers and our cast and crew. It's so much fun. And I love being spoiled in my trailer and, all those things. So they're both very magical places. I always like to say being on a set is one of the most it makes me think of being in the theater, actually, because they built a set to look like a house and they've done this stuff. So you get to play pretend. And the fact that I'm always like, pinch me, the fact that I'm getting paid to do what I was doing, growing up in the Bronx, talking to myself, playing with my dolls is a dream come true.
Yeah, I can imagine. I see the passion. I feel the passion when you're talking about your craft. A little bit when you were talking about the theater made me think of singing. I sing.
Oh, okay.
And so just being able to go and connect with the audience, I get that. For me, the camera probably would be a little difficult on the TV as well because you don't have that connection. But you say you do have a connection with the camera. I thought that was amazing. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was the importance of harnessing your craft, and you work with other artists and actors, actresses who are up and coming. How important is that? How has it been important for you, and how important is it for up and coming?
It's so important because people can see through it. There's something I tell my students. I tell them the camera is a lie detector and the eyes tell no lies. So if you're not connected, we're going to know. The audience will know. We've seen people like crying, right? Like, oh yeah,
you're right.
Sure, right. So it's not enough to just act like you're acting. It really is about being and operating from a deep sense of telling the truth. And I think that's what separates a really good actor from one that's just kind of coasting, or maybe got the job because they have, you know, 1 million TikTok followers. You know, that happens. You hear people who are singers and they become famous because they had a song out online, but they can't do 8 shows a week, or they can't handle the touring schedule and what really is required. So for me, I think just for no matter what line of work you're in, it's like, you don't, some people say, I'm gonna be an actor tomorrow. I'm like, okay, but people don't decide to be a doctor tomorrow. Like they got to go to school, you got to train. I mean, in order to be a good doctor, someone that we trust. And so I feel it's the same way. So I think good actors make it look easy, and which is why people think, oh, I can do that. I'm cute. You know, but you end up finding out the truth when it's showtime.
We were talking about one of your roles, and I was a little thrown when you came in. I was like, oh, she's so soft and prim and proper, and that role was rough. And so that's a sign of a great actress, I believe, that you know, people will kind of perceive you in a certain way. I guess it has advantages and disadvantages, but that was I kind of assumed you were going to be a little rougher on that on the edges, but you all the way soft.
It's so funny too, because the role you're talking about, simultaneously I was playing another role in another hit show, and she was a home wrecker, totally different kind of role. And the audience, a lot of the online audience on Twitter, on social media, had no idea it was the same person.
Wow, I didn't realize it. I did not realize it.
All of a sudden, there were these memes going around, like putting my character side to side. Did y'all know this was the same actress? I was like, well, that's acting. But they hated me for one and loved me for another. So I was like, oh, I'm doing a good job when it evokes that kind of emotion, good or bad. Yeah,
you're doing an amazing job in what you're doing. And you've been in this, I think we discussed 20 years, you've been out here doing this. How has the industry changed, improved, or gotten worse when it comes to us beautiful Black women as actresses?
Well, you know, it's still a bit of a struggle, but it has improved, and it's improved in a, you know, due to actually streaming services and also more Black creators coming out, more Black directors, more Black writers who are creating work and telling our stories. So it opens up opportunities. And so the fact that they're able to get into the doors and be producers, showrunners, executive producers, really helps because it helps to open the door for the rest of us. So it has improved in that way. However, I mean, there's still instances where, you know, racism still exists in this industry. Typecasting still exists. So you're always kind of navigating that. You know, to me, it's all a game. Like I walk, my daily life is a choice to be bald, but I also know, okay, when I'm playing this role, I need to add a wig for this or do that based on what I think this Hollywood industry is expecting for this kind of character. But you know, it's the kind of thing where no one is forcing me to do this. You know, and so I'm grateful for the strides that my ancestors have laid and actors who've come before me. So there's a long way to go, but I am grateful for diversity. Back in the day, roles would just say African-American woman, 20 to 30. You know, now roles will say open gender. I've booked many roles that write open ethnicity, open gender, be like, oh, anybody can be a doctor or anybody can be a, you know, a police officer. So that's where it has changed over the years, and that it's not so like, we need a sassy Black woman for this. Like, okay, we get it. Like, we can do more than that.
Right. So. Stretching it. One of the things, we've had actresses on the show before. I wanted to kind of get your take on it. The way it was explained was acting is the only job that you have to interview for each job. Like, for instance, if I want to be a police officer, I only have to interview for that job one time and I have the job. But acting is a profession where you have to continuously interview for a job.
I'll take it further. No, acting is the only place where you do the job without having the job.
Really?
It's like someone say, you want to drive the bus? Just drive the bus real quick. Just drive this whole MARTA bus. Drive the route first. And then we'll see if we like how you drove the bus.
That's true. That's the audition.
Right. Okay. So we're going full out for every single one. So that's why even when we don't get jobs, and I know it's tough for other artists, you're like, the rejection. But I have to shift it in my mind and get to say, well, I've played thousands of characters. I haven't gotten paid for all of them, but I have played them. And it is just, again, I have to choose. I'm big on mindset. I have to choose that the way I'm getting paid is through challenging myself and trying on this thing. This role got to stretch me and help me for the next thing. But yeah, it is very, very interesting. Like, and then it's, you know, after you do one gig, you're waiting for the next gig.
It's amazing to me that because it's a creative, being a creative, I'm a creative as well, the complexity of it, like you mentioned, and as I've witnessed you in the different roles, what are you doing prior to a character? How are you studying for a specific role, or even maintaining a role? Like, for instance, we talked about the role where you were I call her, she was straight up cutthroat. How do you study for that? How do you, and you still have that role. So how is it that you're able to study for it and then maintain it?
Yeah, you know, that's the really fun part, is the character creation. So for me, I'll research, even, you know, before I even get the role, when I'm auditioning, I'm researching the timeline, you know, so that's in the 80s. I'm researching anyone who might be similar. You know, I borrow from people all the time. Like, I borrow a little of you, a little of him, a little of her. I mean, I borrow from men and women, the way somebody talks. I like to figure out how my character walks, how they sound. Like, so I talk here, but, you know, that character talks differently. You know, I like to do this thing where I connect characters to animals sometimes if it feels right.
Wow.
So like, if I have a character that walks kind of slow, if I have a character that's kind of flighty, like a bird, I get to decide what that is. Some characters I play it like a snake. You never know I'm going to bite you. So I tap into that. I tap into music. And then I create backstories. If they're not based on a true, actual, real person, I create a whole character backstory, where they're from, how old they are, how many kids they have, what's their zodiac sign, you know, all that kind of stuff. This person just feels so real and true to me. And then making up what my relationships are to the other characters in the project. And that's just the basis. And the longer you play it, the more you find out, because you get new scripts and you're trying to figure out, you know, the writers are just writing based on what they thought.
Right.
So now I have to make it mine and make it real for me.
And you do it so well.
Thank you.
I've never interviewed or even spoke to an actor or actress that has your level of, I mean, it's like you paint a picture, or like you're creating a whole, what is it, avatar for one character. And I think that's amazing. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
From the viewer's perspective. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was chemistry and how chemistry is developed with your fellow castmates. I love the interaction that you've had with your actors and actresses. Is that something that's natural, or is it something that it can be developed?
I think it's a mix of both. Sometimes you just click with a person. Like, you meet them, you know, there's been times where someone's supposed to be my husband and I meet them at lunch. You know, and we have a scene right after lunch, we have to kiss. I don't know them from Adam. It's the most strangest thing. You know, sometimes, you know, you have months to meet people, and then that gradually builds. Sometimes you meet somebody and their attitude is stanky. You don't like each other at all. You know, so at the end of the day, all that matters is the work that I'm doing on the camera and on the lens, and telling that truth. So I have little tricks that I do. A trick that I like to do, especially if it's supposed to be a romantic partner, and perhaps someone I do not find attractive, like for myself. Right. I just make myself find anything on that person attractive. Like, I'm like, if I think your ears are cute, I'm like, oh, your ears are so cute. Right. It's important that I find something that's endearing, because the eyes tell no lies. Right. So when I look at you, for the camera, you thinking I'm just like gushing over you. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, his little ears are so cute in my mind. I
would love to be in your head in those moments.
You have to do what you have to do, because for me, all that matters is what lands on the lens, and I want to tell a good story. So it is nice. But sometimes when you know you're going to do long work with somebody, like I did a show on Stars where I had this, my whole arc was with this one character. So, you know, anytime you have a moment to chit chat, just small talk or getting to know each other in rehearsals, anything like that, keeping it professional, but just warming up so you don't feel like strangers on the lens, because you feel that too. And then you're like, oh, these people have no chemistry. And that's not, and like, even just for platonic friendships, you know, it's like, any moment you get, try to build something. But I'm telling you, there are times, some people, everybody has their own process. So you can't infringe on someone else's process. Some people may not want to talk to you. And so you have to make it up for yourself. Wow. Because all that matters is what you're doing on the screen.
Yeah. It's amazing. So you train and you sort of prepare the next generation or up and coming for actors and actresses. What does that what could we expect if we had interest in that and getting some training? Because I really, truly believe anything that you're trying to go into, is better to do the research, to do the training, work out all the kinks and learn as much as you can. But what would that experience look like coming up under you to get that
I mean,
guidance?
for me, I'm really a straight no chaser kind of person. I'm very transparent. That's how my business was even created. I just started doing Facebook Lives back in like 2017, coming from an audition or this callback went well. Here's what I did. And I noticed people just started raising their hand. So with me, I literally, like I have a program called Book More TV. Because that's my specialty. That's TV is, as you can see, my passion, my energy is a game. Book More TV is like, it's a game to me. Once you understand, there's a difference in how you act for NBC, CBS, USA, for Tyler Perry. There's a different energy on an FX show that's more dark versus, a Disney show. It's light. Nickelodeon is different. And once you understand that, that's when everything changed for me. You can't approach it with a one size fits all. So this energy and this excitement, I pass that on to my students. And when it clicks for them, then they start booking. And it's a beautiful thing to see people winning because it's just a extension. It becomes a ripple effect of beautiful energy put out into the world. Absolutely.
So where would you like to see yourself? I know we're going to talk here in a few minutes about the current strike that is occurring with the writers. First started with the writers and then the actors now. But where would you like to see yourself and what would you like to be doing? Let's say beyond the strike, 5 years from now.
Well, 5 years, I want to do more series regular stuff. I'm working on a show in Africa that'll be out next year, but I want to do more sci-fi, more thriller, something that really digs deep into drama. It's like a serial drama would be awesome. There used to be a show I used to watch called Parenthood back in the day. It's been off the air for a while, but something where we can follow a storyline with the family, kind of like how This Is Us, where it really makes tearjerker moments, right? But if it can be mixed with a little bit of thriller, that would be fun too. So I just want to, I have a joke with my friends, like I just want to sit down someplace.
Right,
okay?
exactly.
Because I do a lot of guest star, which is so much fun because I get to try so many roles, but I'm at a point I just want to
You want to sit somewhere.
I want to sit somewhere, and it's so much fun to build a character over years.
Yeah.
I've had a taste, even with the shows I've done, but those were guest stars. So I want to be the star of the show and get a chance to build a character from scratch and see where it goes.
That's amazing. I love it. So let's dig into this strike because for those of us who are not specifically in that industry, we want to support. We don't know really how to support. First of all, let's rewind back and if we can discuss why are we currently in a strike with the writers and the actors and actresses? Yeah, well,
it goes pretty deep. The writers started first just because at the core of it is fair compensation.
Okay.
That's the core of it for both unions. Writers are not getting paid enough. Writers who have, who are experienced are still getting paid as if they're entry level. And so it's just, and with the rise of artificial intelligence, the threat of that replacing writers because these computers are very smart. Yeah. And, people are not able to pay their bills, are not able to qualify for health insurance. Actors, we jump on board too because of the same thing, artificial intelligence. They, proposed, our contract was expiring. And so when your contract expires, you go sit through negotiations. Okay. And in this negotiation process, they brought out some things that were just ridiculous. They wanted background actors. Those are the people who are in the background of scenes. They wanted to use them for one day, pay them like maybe $100 and use their likeness in perpetuity for the rest of their lives without their permission. Wow. Why would we say yes to things like that? Right. We are also fighting for better residual pay. So with the rise of streaming services, which I'm so grateful for, I have done a lot of work. However, there's no residuals there. Yes. It's this kind of thing where you get residuals up front, but it's not enough, So unless you're on a network TV show like NBC, ABC, that kind of thing, you're not seeing it. Back in the day, actors could live off just residuals alone and know they can qualify for insurance and retire. And that's not the case anymore. Okay. Most actors are not rich. So I know people may be confused and they see celebrities on the picket lines. They're supporting us. They're even donating to funds to help actors because the average actor, if they're even working, is living check to check or gig to gig, and I know I am. And it's like, it's this thing of even when you're on a big show, that has to last you because now you're recognizable. You don't go work at Macy's. You have to, you're relying on residuals, relying on that for your daily survival. And so it is at the core. There's so many other things in the contract that need work, but the biggest core things are compensation, being protected from artificial intelligence, and just protection overall, because it's just gotten out of hand. And the fact that we even have to strike, and we haven't been on, the actors haven't been on strike, I think, since 1980. Like, it's wild. Yeah. And so the way people who are not involved in the industry can support is just by, if they see something that we share, resharing it. You know, people say, maybe should we stop watching streaming services? No, because the big people up the top want to act like actors don't matter, writers don't matter. So we won't be making it better by not watching it, because they'll be like, see, nobody's watching it anyway. Why should we pay you? So no, keep on keep on watching. We just want to be fairly compensated for it. You know, for years they've been saying we don't know how to measure the streams. They've been saying that from the beginning. Okay, when it first came out, perhaps, but now there's so many streaming services, and if you watch a show, you know, 10 million streams, like you're telling me I don't get anything else from that? That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. And so I definitely voted yes to strike, and I'm glad we are. It's tough for all of us in the community, but we're willing to do that because we need to. We need change. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that's a way that we can support, because, you know, it was almost, I was almost afraid to watch anything, and I've heard people now, they're starting to say it on social media. Give the writers, give the actors what they want. We're ready for our shows to come back.
Oh, fall's gonna be real sad.
It's gonna be horrible.
You're gonna have reality shows and reruns.
Now, what's your take on the reality shows? I mean, I think I like to leave space for creatives to be creatives, but I'm personally not a fan of reality TV, because to me it seems like it's ignited for things to happen. It isn't, like you said, can those same people come on a set and know what their camera is, and do they know the language and the lingo of what it takes to really be an actress?
No, it's like reality shows honestly are like bad acting. Right? Because it's supposed to just be the person. And at the core of it, when reality shows started back in the day, it was just supposed to be a camera, a fly on the wall, following this person around and seeing what mess they got into. You know, think about the early real world stuff, you know? And that's what that was. It was very voyeuristic. But then it's like, no, like, we need the drama. We have to stoke, you know, and you see how awkward it is. People just at a coffee shop, so tell me about Johnny, what happened? And because they're doing 3 takes of it. And it's painful. So that's why I say it's bad acting, because these people are just regular people who now have to do a take 2 and take 3. I mean, the camera's in the house when we open the door. Like, we get that this isn't, you know, it's loosely scripted, and sometimes it's really painful. But the thing about it is it's cheap to film. And that's why we get so much of it.
So now, are they considered in that number? Well, I guess they're not considered actors and actresses legit, because they're still acting and they're still doing their thing during the strike.
Well, certain reality shows fall under a union contract, and certain don't. Some don't. It just depends on what network and who's the production company behind it.
Okay. See, that cleared that up for me. We have a few minutes left. I really want you to kind of inspire and speak to, we talk to the everyday woman here on Style with Trish, and every day could be, it doesn't have to be flamboyant, but we great, and we're queens, and no matter our walk of life. But just encourage us to continue to, in this mad world, stay soft. You know, in this mad world, stay committed, stay focused. Whatever words you want to encourage us, please leave us with.
Yeah, well, I will say, first of all, just remember that you are amazing, beautiful, one of a kind, wonderful. Never duplicated. Like, there's just one of you. And, you know, it's about you. I like to say, remember to step into your main character energy. You get to be the leading lady, the leading man of your life. You know, so if you feel like you're living a life that feels uninspired, I want you to pretend like you are a screenwriter. You can write a new script for your life, right? You can, whatever's not working, you can say, cut, that's not working. Let's do a take 2 and do that over again. You know, I like to also say, you know, like, you are your own competition. We don't have to look there or look there to see what's going on. Just think about what you want, what you desire. You get to live your life by design. That's how I live. So you get to choose what you want to do every day, choose what experiences you want to have, the people you want to be around. Remember, like attracts like. So look at your circles. If you don't like it, you get to change it. You know, there's power. You have more power than you think you do.
That was wonderful. that word was just about as bright as your yellow that you have on today. You came on the set today ready. You hear me?
I had to come with the right. This is a beautiful dress I got in Africa. It's a line called Frida when I was in South Africa filming, and I got so much in trouble in this one store, and it was just
so you overspent.
Ooh.
Well, that money was spent well on that dress.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for hanging out with us. A beautiful person, beautiful aura, just humble. And my prayer is that everything you touch is success. And we're also praying that this strike ends like yesterday.
Yeah, you and me both. You and me both.
Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Again, I have my guest, Christine Horne. And until the next one, this is Style with Trish exclusive. I'm often asked the question, why the title Style with Trish? And to answer that question is very simple. For me, style isn't just what's on the outer appearance of a woman. It is what is on the inside, which is actually more important. And so what we want to do and how we want to incorporate that into our show is that we excitedly bring on guests who feed into the building of self-esteem, as far as mental health and improving yourself, self-help. We bring guests on and experts on to actually help us build those areas, increase those areas to make us a better us on the inside. Once we're built healthily on the inside, then we can start rocking out the outer look. Outer look is the easiest part to redo, to fix. The inner is what's the most difficult. So style isn't just what's on the outside. It actually starts with what you possess on the inside. Hey guys, this is Trish Standley. Catch up on season 1 of Style with Trish by going to trishstandley.com. If you are not able to catch the show on YouTube, make sure you go to my website, trishstandley.com, and check out our podcast, trishstandley.com.